At the Grammys, Chappell Roan won the award for Best New Artist. And in her acceptance speech for this award, she took the opportunity to make an insane list of demands on the music industry and called out record labels for not providing a livable wage and health care to their artists. And here is a quote from her speech. I told myself...
Phil's face. I'm sorry. This is why we chose this topic. Yeah. Phil's going to love this.
Chappell Roan. Just for context, by the way, this girl is 26 years old, so...
just now was off her parents' health insurance.
Yes, this is quite a sensitive time for her. She said, I told myself that if I ever won a Grammy and got to stand up here before the most powerful people in music, I would demand that labels in the industry profiting millions of dollars off of artists would offer a livable wage and health care, especially to developing artists. I got signed so young. I got signed as a minor. When I got dropped, I had 0 job experience under my belt, and like most people, I had quite a difficult time finding a job in the pandemic and couldn't afford insurance.
She got dropped from her label?
Her first label, yeah. It was devastating to feel so committed to my art and feel so betrayed by the system and dehumanized. If my label had prioritized it, I could have been provided care for a company I was giving everything to. Record labels need to treat their artists as valuable employees with a livable wage and health insurance and protection. Labels, we got you, but do you got us?
You are an absolute buffoon.
So
the idea that she's there asking for health insurance, asking for the label to provide health insurance, dumb woman. Tell the label to give you a larger cut of your royalties, you stupid, stupid, stupid idiot. Asking for the label to pay your health insurance makes you more dependent on the label. Yeah. You absolute foot. Jesus Christ. That is insane.
Brief intermission. Value and You sent us a 20. Phil, what were your early influences musically, and is it hard to stay fit/healthy while touring?
Early influences were like the very first like rock and heavy metal bands that I was into. Like first it was Poison, then Def Leppard when I was really young. Then I got into like Iron Maiden when I was like 11, 12, 13 until I was about 14 years old. I got into Metallica. 15, 16, I got into death metal, and it was all downhill after that. And then yes, it's very hard to stay in shape on tour because you're always doing stuff for tour, or you're on the bus going to the next venue. Sometimes if you're on a bus tour, you can get to the gym, but getting an Uber to the gym every day is super expensive for a whole tour, or even doing it 3 or 4 times a day is expensive. If you're headlining, you can have the runner do it, but that can be a pain in the butt. If you're just supporting, it's a pain. It's always everything on tour is a pain in the balls.
Must be even harder when your record label doesn't provide you with health insurance.
I hate that idiot woman.
Well, at the time, Chappell Roan received a lot of praise from her Gen Z fan base.
Of course she did, because they're stupid too.
And then I saw that a former music executive called her out for her ignorance and naivete in a new guest column for The Hollywood Reporter, saying, Chappell groan, the misguided rhetoric of an instant industry insider. The Grammy winner for Best New Artist gets respect and appreciation for her creativity and gumption, but is far too uninformed to be the agent of change she aspires to be today. It seems Chappell Roan wants to turn labels into landlords, bosses, and insurance providers.
Yeah, no thank you.
Have you ever tried to get your expenses reimbursed from a major label, yet somehow you want them in charge of healthcare claims? As if labels want next year's winner to shout them down as slumlords in front of 60 million viewers. The architect of such a system, Motown's trailblazing Berry Gordy, received his fair share of criticism for Hitsville's unprecedented success, but the artists were happy with their royalties and credits, right? Roan gets respect and appreciation for her gumption, but is too uninformed to be the agent of change she aspires to be. She may evolve quickly, perhaps build a confab of power-wielding playmakers, or pass the torch to another leader-to-be, but her speech was hackneyed and plagiarized script of an artist basking in industry love while broadcasting naivete and taking aim at the very machine that got her there.
She's literally at the award show that represents the machine that got her there.
What an absolute idiot.
If Taylor Swift can't initiate change at Spotify, I don't know if she's going to.
Well, Spotify's different than a label, but this woman is still a moron.
Yes.
I even see like people who are like, I'm an independent artist and Spotify should pay us more royalties.
Well, yeah, I mean, they should. Spotify, like, look, Spotify pays one licensing fee to whoever, like, to an entire publishing company, and the publishing company then doles it out amongst the people that are on the label, and it should be like they should pay more.
Well, but the reason that Spotify has so much revenue to begin with is people like Taylor Swift, right? The biggest artists are the ones who bankroll the existence of that platform. So the independent artists, unlike Taylor Swift, who are using this as a job, are living off of the money that Taylor Swift makes. We have a 20 from Alejandro Reyes, entirely unrelated to anything you're talking about. I'm a couple streams behind. How much in Super Chats to be retroactively included in a video? As I am watching, I feel the need to interject.
Well, any 20 gets retroactively included in a video because you'll end up in the segment rather than just in the live. Because in the live streams, all Super Chats are read, but the segments are just cut from the main topics, and then we don't obviously post the Super Chat segment. So if you want to interject, that would be the time to do it, and it has to be over $20.
But I'm sorry, we don't have a time machine. They continued in this piece, if labels are responsible for artists' wages, healthcare, and overall well-being, where does it end and personal responsibility begin?
Doesn't. They want to be adult daycare denizens.
This woman is an absolute moron. Absolute idiot.
I saw other artists saying that their record labels should provide them with free psychological care.
Actors do the same thing. Actors say that you should provide them with psychiatrists and psychologists.
Being an actor is different to being an artist on a label. These people all need to shut the absolute hell up.
Even the actor. I don't care if the role is demanding. It's your job, if you're being paid well, to take care of your own mental health.
And it is.
Roan's call for record labels to pay artists a livable wage and provide health care was noble. I don't even know if it was.
No, it was ignorant.
But also wildly misinformed. Her rise to stardom, fueled by viral moments, major label backing, and an industry desperate for the next alternative pop star, proves she's no longer a struggling artist. So she should do something about it rather than just talking at the issue. Change is waiting to be championed, not just announced. I think this person is forgetting we're talking about a Gen Z pop star. They want to talk about things. They don't want to do anything.
I mean, it's so frustrating to hear this absolute idiocy, this absolute... why would you want to give a label more power? You already make music that they own. Like, you're making music for the label. They own the music that you write. Why do you want to entangle your life in that particular entity even more, you absolute buffoon?
That's why I thought that Taylor Swift's whole beef with Scooter Braun was not ignorant, but knowingly disingenuous.
Oh, yeah, that's the worst part, is activism that's not even really activism. It's just disingenuous, self-serving.
Especially considering the fact that Taylor Swift's father is the one who got her record deal in the first place, and a really sweetheart deal at that. Then years later, she's going to pretend that she had her music stolen from her. Something that didn't belong to you to begin with cannot be stolen from you.
Yeah.
Just because you wrote it on your bathroom floor doesn't mean it's yours.
I mean, it legitimately is, like, the argument that a successful artist is making is, well, I may write the music and they own it, right? Because what they do is they actually own the master tapes. So they pay for you to make the music. They pay for your time in the studio. Maybe they pay for your time at home while you're writing it, so you can, you pay your bills, whatever. And then they own that in perpetuity. That when it's a hit, it's tough to deal with. But the thing that gets lost is the label does that with 50 artists, and maybe one actually hits, and they use that hit to cover all the other artists that are that lose money. Now, granted, if it's a big hit, they can make a boatload of money. That's true. But they are using that big hit to cover a lot of losses. They're doing a lot of, they're trying a lot of things,
cut
basically.
Early. Like, I remember listening to Mike Posner talk about after having like such a big hit.
There's a $20 there.
Not So Secretly Based said it sounds like she wants a music artist person of SAG.
I think he means version
of SAG.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing? Anything like it?
I don't know, but I mean, I avoid things like guilds and unions anyways, because I think they're bad for people, for artists and stuff.
I mean, I remember when Mike Posner was talking about after Cooler Than Me hit really big, that the label just wanted to cut bait because not like all the all the singles after that had diminishing returns. So they wanted to get like they just started taking his songs and giving them to other artists because they weren't going to use them for him. I like this paragraph at the end. It says, could the system be better? Sure. Should artists get better deals? Absolutely. But Roan's speech lacked the nuance and the industry awareness to build any consensus or even speak to the priorities of an artist platform of issues. Demanding that labels pay artists like salaried employees ignores the fundamental economic structure of the business. Well, yeah, she can't do that in a 2-minute speech, and that's the point.
My headphones almost fell off.
The point is that in a 2-minute speech, that's when you get your cardboard slogans and not actual nuanced discussion. But it's not designed to be nuanced. It's designed to push forward an idea in a bully manner. Like they want to bully you into making change.
If anything, the music executive who wrote this piece is giving Chappell Roan way too much credit, acting like she was saying this coming from a good place. No, I think that what she was doing is she's trying to get this to turn into a viral moment for most of her uninformed teenage fan base to praise her, and it worked.
It's so frustrating to hear because it's so incredibly stupid. It's so she's equating being an artist to wanting a job. The whole reason why you become a songwriter and an artist is not to have a job. Like, you don't want to get a job. That's the point. You want to be an artist. Like, that's one of the things. Like, you work for yourself, you write music when you feel like it, or you go on tour, but you don't have a normal job. Like, that's the goal.
Do you remember that girl, JoJo?
JoJo Siwa?
No, not JoJo Siwa. The JoJo before JoJo Siwa.
Too Little Too Late
Too Little Too Late JoJo.
I don't.
She was like 13 years old when she sang Too Little Too Late.
Had 2 huge singles.
What was the other one?
I forget the other one's name.
Get Out.
Get Out.
Yeah, she had these huge singles on radio, and it was crazy to learn that she was that young when they came out. But then she signed a record deal that I assume both her and her parents did not read. And it was a disaster for her career because she basically disappeared after that.
Yep.
And it was not an advantageous deal for her, and now she's come back later on to re-record them
because she's finally allowed to start performing them. She, however, did do a COVID version of Too Little Too Late or Get Out, which was
version,
one of the worst things I've ever heard in my entire.
I already hate that.
It was awful.
Yeah. So like, I'm not saying people don't get ripped off, but
the structure of the music industry is kind of a ripoff for people that are very successful, because they have all this heat and all these valuable songs that they wrote for someone else. And like I said, the reason that the record label owns it is so that way they can cover the cost of all the other losers that they're going to end up
right.
And I don't mean losers as in like bad people or whatever. They're economic losers, right? So they spend all this money to make this, and it just
so that they
doesn't
can
go.
take risks.
Exactly. And so if you're a person that's getting the opportunity and you are marginally successful, that's probably pretty good. If you are like incredibly successful, it's a bad deal for you because all these songs are not your property. You do become a star and you have value in your brand. But depending on how long the record deal is, how much, how long, if there are re-record clauses, which is why Taylor Swift has the Taylor versions. The re-record clauses expired, and so she was allowed to re-record these songs. And so she said, well, I'm just going to re-record them, and so I can go ahead and tell my massive fan base who will listen to me, don't listen to the old versions, listen to the new versions, because those are the ones that I wanted to do, or I own. And so there will be a certain amount of people that are going to listen to those. But at that point, Taylor Swift isn't hurting for money because she's already a billionaire.
Oh, I purposefully listen to the Big Machine Records versions of all of Taylor's music.
Of course you do.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.